Cheers, everybody. We got Graham,
Alex.
we got Smarty Pints coming at you. This time we decided to, it's been a long time coming.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. We're going to do a video responding to some questions in regards to the RIMS tube that Alex uses. I use the same RIMS tube. So one of the questions in particular, Alex, is in regards to the heating element.
Yeah, we had a lot of questions about this on the initial video. A lot of people asking exactly what element that we have, and let me open this guy up and show you. And if you guys are paying attention to the initial video, you'll see, if I can get this out of here, loosen this. There we go, thank you. This is not the same element from the first video, because as it turns out, that element was not entirely stainless steel, so it began to rust, which is not good for making beer.
No.
So, first rule of thumb is make sure that your element is stainless. Not only the element itself you can, but the base as well. So to be specific about this element here, this is a 1,440 watt, 120 volt element, and I got it at a local hardware store for like $8 or $9. Really easy to find, and it is in fact stainless. So now I've been brewing with this for over a year, not a problem. Works great. A lot of people, when they go to look for an element, you'll realize very quickly that there aren't many 120 volt elements. They're mostly 240. But the good thing is that you can use a 240 volt element on 120 volts if you're using a controller like this Johnson, which has the 120 volt output. The only thing you have to keep in mind is if you run a 240 volt element at 120 volts, it basically gives you a quarter of the wattage. So case in point, let's say you find a 4,500 watt element that's supposed to run on 240, you run on 120, you're going to get 1,125 watts out of it, roughly.
But that's not bad for mashing.
Oh yeah, not at all.
So,
I must reiterate, the real important thing when you're looking for an element is try to find the ultra low watt density. That's very important. That way it spreads that power over the surface of the entire element, so you don't get as many hot spots, so you reduce the risk of scorching.
yep. And as Alex said, you can use the 240 for the 120, as he said. Or in my other video, where I talk about my setup, you can use the 240 with a 240 setup, and you're good to go. The problem is, you'll obviously, unless you happen to find an element with a cord that already has a plug on it. In my video, I showed what I used. I had to find my own cord. I had to do Dr. Frankenstein on it and attach my own plug to it. But in my other video, I said everything and all the details, what I needed, what I did. So there you go for 240, and he told you what to do for 120.
Cool. The other question that was popping up a lot is what kind of a thermo well are we using?
Yeah, some of you guys were saying, I got the thermal well from Brew and Grow, but it didn't fit the probe. So,
yeah, which is not good. You see the Johnson controller, the probe is pretty big, so this thermo well is large enough for that probe to fit into. But the thing is, I purchased this online before Brew and Grow was carrying all these components, and unfortunately the initial thermo well that Brew and Grow ordered, they received the wrong kind, so they're not compatible with the Johnson controllers. We do have the proper ones on order. In the meantime, if you can't wait, you can search online, find a third-party retailer for this, or you can go a couple other options. Instead of doing a thermo well, you can go with a thermocouple and wire it directly to your controller, or go the route that Graham went.
Yeah, in my other video where I talk about my setup, I got a temperature controller through another company, High Gravity Brewing, and they supplied me with a probe for a T-fitting that I put on the mash, the output. So just put it on T-fitting and then hook up whatever fitting you want on the other side so it goes into the hose, and you're good to go on that.
Yeah, a lot of people had concerns about the Johnson control and how sensitive it was. and the lag that it had. So if you do go with a thermocouple or a controller like Graham has, you should be able to control it more precisely and accurately. That being said, with the Johnson control at the right kind of flow rate, I rarely have issues where the temperature drifts more than 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees. And it works fine for my purposes.
To each his own. If you like it this way, you go this way. If you like it that way, you go that way. I've tried every single one of Alex's beers and they've turned out pristine.
Hey, thanks.
So other people were complimenting about the stand, how cool it looks. But we didn't buy it from any other place and we didn't get it from Brew and Grow. We had a mutual friend weld it for us. So it's pretty helpful to have friends who have technical skills such as that.
True, true.
So if you want to stand like this, you're going to have to find somebody who knows how to weld steel together. And as far as these brackets go, not these brackets right here that hold, that hold the RIMS tube onto the stand, where'd you get those?
I found them online. This is before Brew and Grow started carrying a lot of this stuff, but Brew and Grow does have those on order, so we'll be able to supply you with those about the same time we get those upgraded thermal wells. In the meantime, you can do a search and I'm sure you can find something or rig together some kind of a clamp. Homebrewers are usually pretty handy. And yeah, regards to the stand too, some people prefer to have it just hard mounted to your rig. So if you have a big steel frame that you have your rig on, you might just want to mount that RIMS tube directly to it.
You can do anything you want. Use your imagination. That's the beauty of being a homebrewer, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right. Well, I think we answered as many questions as we could in this video. If you guys have any other questions about this RIMS tube, or if you have any questions at all about brewing, let us know. Leave us a comment. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.